In the first instalment of this series of short piobaireachd lessons or seminars, I spoke about embellishments for piobaireachd. And one of the things that I didn't touch on at that particular time that I would like to touch on now and try and get some more understanding of what cadences are. I hear all the time people play cadences as if they had no part of the tune, or some people use cadences with, I guess, in their own mind, they think that they control tempos. I explained in the first one series that all tempos are controlled by the value of the theme note. Cadences are used in music for two purposes: to terminate phrases and to connect phrases. Now, all the time we hear cadences being played, and there's no thought given to the cadence. What part does this cadence play in this particular tune? Now, I'm going to start off really with Glengarry's Lament, because that's another tune we hear played with the young players in grade 4. And we hear... Now, I guess the music helps or does not help. And in this case, the music that we use doesn't help, because the E of that first cadence has no value on paper, and people tend to play that. They give it, see, where it's really a black note. And we hear that when we come to the end of the line. Now, again, it's a symbol on paper and it has no value. But it's part of the song. So in the song it has to have value. And the simple way to think about a cadence, a 3-note cadence in your music, is just 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we come to the end of the line, if it's the end of the line, now, when the cadence occurs within the line, it's going to play a different part than what the cadence does at the end of the line. So, where the cadence occurs in the middle of the line, I'm using it in the middle of the line to connect two phrases. So I want to portray it and play it differently to the way I would play it at the end of a line or the end of the variation. At the end of the variation, it's terminating. So I want to portray conclusion. I want to convey a sound or a feeling that it's finished. See? Within the line, it's being used to connect phrases. So you don't want to kill the flow or stop the rhythmic or melodic flow of the music to play the cadence. Now, it's a very simple 3-note cadence in Glengarry's Lament, and it's mistimed so often because of the way we write the music. The other thing that occurs with it when it's played in grade 4 is that the D grace note is too long. So the grace note needs to be part of the rhythmic movement, and it has to have a rhythmic balance. Now, that's the 3-note and 2-note cadence. Many variations of any tune start with a 2-note cadence, as in Glengarry's Lament. Now, in other tunes, we'll have a different type of cadence. It's not always going to be a 3-note or 2-note cadence in tunes. If we take, for instance, Donald the Flagon. Now, that's a cadence. Again, it's used in there to connect phrases. But the other thing that's important in many tunes is the note before the cadence. Now, this is something that all the time, people pay no attention to that. But if you take the note before the cadence in a particular tune, I softened the B approach note, and that's good technique in pibroch, to soften the approach notes to the cadence. Another tune that's very, very important in is Beloved Scotland. Now, 9 times out of 10, that C is sharply cut. The note before the cadence is very, very important, how you use it. Yeah? So soften the approach notes when you're going to cadences. The cadences are not always going to be played the same. If you take the variation in McCrimmon's Sweetheart, it's prolonged. The cadence is made more of in McCrimmon's Sweetheart. We use the cadence and the variation a lot more than we do in some other tunes. And I recall Bob Brown in a lesson making that remark that we have to use the cadences more, or make more of the cadences, make more use of them within the tune. So the cadence was extended and made more of, like. Now, a totally different interpretation of a cadence occurs in a tune like the Big Spree, where it's played very, very sharply. Very sharp. I recall Bob Nicol giving me this tune and really stressing that. And his actual words were, you don't want to hear this, she'll yaw, bravo. See? That sort of da, bravo. He wanted, she'll yaw, bravo. See? So the cadence is being used differently in all tunes. Where it's very, very important is in early C chord. So cadences are so important in piobaireachd. They play such a large part in piobaireachd. We never talk about cadences. I've asked gold medalists, what part do cadences play in music? A blank look. Because we never talk about those things. They're never mentioned on paper. We never explain the use of them on paper. But they're very important. They're basically used to connect phrases or terminate phrases or variations. In many instances, if you go back to poetry again, they're like commas in the middle of lines and periods or full stops at the end of lines or the end of verses. Your cadences are going to play the same part in that aspect. Then, of course, they have a rhythmic and musical part to play within the tune. We really have to focus more on the use of cadences in piobaireachd. Top players have to do that. Now, in beloved Scotland, it's such a large part of the tune, those cadences. And all those tunes, the treatment you give the note before the cadence, the approach notes to the cadences should be softened. Now, when we're playing cadences within Dorla variations and Crunlo variations, it's very important to give more value to the theme note of the Dorla or the Crunlo before the cadence, and then go straight on to the cadence, like. That's the last one in the variation. So I indicated to a person who would be listening, conclusion, final, finality, or finale, anything. I'm indicating, I'm portraying and sending a message. And that's what you should be continually doing with music, is communicating to an audience. That's what we have to do in cadences. We have to focus and understand the purpose of cadences within piobaireachd music. Now, it's important when we are teaching beginning students that you try and explain the cadence. Write it out in longhand for a if it's a child, write it out and put numbers on it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try and make it something that the young person can understand. If we start teaching children and young students the importance and the purpose of cadences, then 5 years along the line, as these young players progress, we'll have at least players in grade maybe 1 and 2 who understand what cadences are and what purpose they play in music. And then another 2 and 3 years, we'll perhaps have professional and open players who understand the purpose of cadences within music. This is a very, very important lesson. I appeal to you experienced players. Pay more attention to the cadences and make more use of the cadences within your music. They have nothing to do with tempo. Nothing to do with tempo. They only have to do with your phrasing and determination of variations within your music. So please pay more attention and give more attention to how you use cadences within your music. And you'll improve the musical interpretation of people. Thank you.